Hey, good afternoon everyone, Tractorman 44 here. Today, because the weather turned out so nice here right before Christmas, thought I'd come down and try to install the starter with the replacement solenoid. See if I can get that done while it's still shirt sleeve weather. Needless to say, I think I said before, it's pretty tight down inside here. I've got a crankcase breather hose that's kind of impeding the installation. I got to get that out of the way. Once I got that breather hose out of the way, I was able to finagle that up in there and get the flange surfaces to match. I got 2 of the 3 bolts started, and now I've got a breakneck swivel and also a flip head ratchet in order to get in there to get that thing tightened up. Wish y'all could see in here. I got hydraulic lines and wires, breather pipe. There, I had a breakneck socket, and then also in order to get to that. Now I got to sit down on them with an end wrench. Took a little cussing, a little finagling, but you can see here's the new solenoid, and of course the starter's directly underneath it. But here's our power steering lines, you know, the hydraulic power steering lines, and of course the wiring and everything, and then of course the breather tube I had to reroute out the back because I couldn't get it in between the flange of the starter and then also the solenoid. So I might have to figure that out later, or if it doesn't create a problem, I'd just leave it right there. It doesn't matter to me. Like I said, that was a bit of a fight. It's always aggravating to do out here, you know. It's a little bit soft, a little muddy. It's always aggravation. It's never the pristine condition. It's like my skid loader right now's got a problem, and it's half in, half out of the lean-to, so bad weather, can't work on it. We got it under tarp, so it's always something in it. So hey, we're going to go ahead and put the battery in this thing, which is a trick in and of itself, and see if this thing's going to do the trick. This tractor here's battery compartment is down underneath this 3/16 steel plate. It's got about 6 or 7 3/8 bolts that have to come out, but because I pretty much continuously take the battery out of this, number one, because it sets for a pretty long time consistently, but number two, I've got a bit of a charging issue with the charging circuit, if you can believe that. This thing is due for some shop repair, some long overdue shop repair. Just the first chance I get. When I get done with it down here at the lake, I'm taking it back to the shop. We're going to go through a whole bunch of stuff in it. Got to set the battery down inside here. It can be a bit of a problem getting a big old heavy 31D battery down inside here, because they're kind of heavy and kind of large. It takes a group 31,000 cranking amp battery. Always hook your positive first in case you don't want a negative grounded system, in case you touch the wrench to the grounded frame of the tractor while you're attaching the positive terminal. You won't short anything out. So attach your positive first, then attach your negative. Well, like I always say, you can do what you want. You don't necessarily have to do what I do. But if, like right now, if you've got the negative post attached and this wrench slips and you're attached to, and you're hooked onto the positive terminal and you ground out against the frame, you just literally have a direct short right straight to the frame. So it's generally accepted amongst people like myself to want or to have the desire to attach the ground last. There we go. This tractor actually has a start position on the shifting lever, all the way to the left and forward. It's kind of like a neutral switch. As options, these tractors could have what's called a protection package, and if you see this lockable enclosure over the radiator cap, as well as the lockable enclosure over the gas cap, and also a lockable enclosure over the entire gauge cluster. And my cousin at the time when he bought the tractor was doing a lot of subcontract work for the city, and so he would have to leave his job set overnight in neighborhoods, and he was afraid always of getting, you know, stuff stolen off the tractor or just vandals doing damage to it. Here's the lockable cover on top of the dipstick. It just slides off there, and there's of course your dipstick underneath. Now I most of the time don't even lock them and everything because I have nothing to be concerned about. And also on the other side, the lockable cover on top of the dipstick for the and fill for the power steering unit. On a side note, as you can see, this has been converted to an alternator, Delco alternator. It might have come with that originally, I don't know, but it's had a external regulator patched into it. So I've got to figure out what's going on with this thing and make some repairs on that. It's been like that ever since I've had it, and I've just never gotten to the bottom of it, never even looked at it. And this here's actually got the heater. Here's a heater that actually preheats your intake off of that right there whenever you turn the key on. But as you can see, it's got a wire disconnect on it. It's not used. My cousin said that from the time this was brand new, in the coldest of weather, it never failed to start. So we just never used it. If I haven't covered this before in a previous video, which I think I might have, I apologize, but there might be some new viewers that hadn't seen this or hadn't thought about doing this to their particular tractor. But at any rate, I've got corner hooks welded on plates. Instead of having all the weight lifted by these corner hooks exposed onto the actual material of the bucket, I opted to go ahead and weld these plates on so I have a much bigger, broader area to keep from doing damage to the bucket. I've got one over there, I've got a large one in the center, and I've also got another one on the opposing side over here. And then, because so many times we lift with nylon straps, you don't want to stick your nylon straps on an actual chain hook like this right here, because the strap will be pulled down inside and it'll do damage to the fibers of the strap. So because we do that, I went ahead and welded a big slip hook over here just a little bit off center of the center hook right there. It's still close enough to center where it really does a good job, you know, as far as lifting is concerned. And then here, if you notice this piece of angle iron here, I put a piece of angle iron and welded a 2 5/16 damaged ball. The threads were damaged on this, so I put it on there and then welded it in place, and then put this heavy half-inch thick wall piece of lintel iron on there so that I can move the gooseneck trailers. You just kind of stand up in the seat, come right in, right up underneath the gooseneck, lift it up, set this right into the ball, pick the trailer up, and just shuffle it around just as quick and easy as can be. It works very, very well. It comes in really handy in tight places where you can't hardly maneuver a truck, but you can get in and maneuver a tractor. Well, as you can see, it turned out to be a profitable afternoon. Here it is, the 21st or something like that of December, 21st, I think, and I'm working out here in a shirt. It was just absolutely crazy. So I had the opportunity to come down and do this. I was thinking it was going to take me like a couple of weeks before I could get here, but it worked out perfectly, so I just went ahead and come down and did it. That's really good because I got the neighbor right there to my daughter that's got a couple of pretty nice, fairly straight oak trees that he wants to go ahead and take down off the corner of his property. But at any rate, you know what? This has been a fun one. I got to cover the tractor back up, keep all the water off of it, and this is Tractor Man 44, and I'm out of here, guys.